Hey, what's up? This is LaGuardia Acting Studio, and we're going to do a quick little video here on what not to do when making self-tapes for auditions. Because in a lot of 2020 and what it looks like almost all of 2021, all auditions are going to be done via self-tape submissions. Callbacks are actually done during like live EcoCasts and live Zoom, but almost all auditions are being done via self-tape. So we released a video on how to release a self-tape, how to do one in general. Um, but I've been looking at a lot of auditions in the past few weeks, and there's a lot of mistakes actors are making that they don't need to be making. So I'm going to give you 10 things not to do when making a self-tape. 10 things not to do. Number one, do not have a cluttered background. Keep it simple. Now, behind me, although it's pretty simple, it's still not even right. I mean, if I was up flush against the plain wall, that's okay. But you don't want a lot of pictures. You don't want a lot of furniture. Ideally, a backdrop is good. And these are very inexpensive things. But actors do need these things. Okay? You want it to be a clear background, nothing distracting. All right? And basically, what's happening is in today's world, self-tapes are so prominent that most smart actors or well-informed actors know that and know how to do that. So when an actor doesn't have that, it makes them look bad. Okay? Number two, always make sure your lighting's good. You don't need crazy fancy lights, although, as I said in the other video, you can get a ring light for like under $30 from Amazon, and it gives you just enough light on your face. You just can't do things in the dark. It just looks too unprofessional. Okay? Number three, make sure your volume is clear enough. I was watching people's auditions, and I'm putting the volume all the way up on the computer. I'm putting the volume all the way up. I couldn't hear them. I mean, could you watch a video that's like this? Why was I running that? I don't know. No, it's very frustrating, very annoying. You can't even focus on whether somebody's talented or not because you can't understand them. So make sure whatever you have to do, if you have to purchase a microphone or whatever, it's well worth the investment. Okay? If you're spending money on headshots and footage or whatever else actors are spending money on, you also need to invest in quality equipment in order to make a professional self-tape. Okay? You have to, unless you're doing a monologue or a commercial, you have to make sure you have a reader. Okay? A lot of actors, when they don't have a reader, they just read their lines. They're just reading their lines. So it sounds like this. Where were you? I never said that. How could you? It sucks to watch an audition like that because even if someone's good, it's distracting, number one. Number two, I can't judge reactions. And you learn as much about an actor from what they're saying as when they're listening. So it's impossible to judge reactions when there's no one actually speaking. So you get somebody to read with you off camera, and they don't have to be a professional actor. They just have to feed you the lines. And there's other ways of doing it if you don't have anyone around. You get a speakerphone. You have somebody read it off the speakerphone, the opposite lines. You put someone on Zoom and keep the camera away from them, and they can speak on Zoom, and you can hear the reader's lines as you're doing your lines. Some people, and I don't know how they do it, they even have it so that Siri does their lines. There's always a way. There's always a way. So make sure you have someone reading lines with you, okay? When you don't really know the material, it shows. And I was watching an actor, and as soon as he came on the screen, I'm like, oh, he's got a good look for this. Let me know. I was excited that he would do well. And every line he read, then he had to go down and find his line. Go down and find his line. Go down and find his line. I mean, the difference between saying, hey, where were you? Like, I waited up all night for you. Or, hey, where were you? I waited up all night for you. It's so distracting. Every time an actor reads down to look at their lines, it pulls me out. It's horribly distracting and unprofessional. It doesn't show the person who wants to cast you that you took it seriously enough to memorize. And let's just say you're having a really rough day and it's a quick turnaround. They want it tomorrow. You have all these things going on. Take your script, put it over there. When you're looking at the person you're supposed to be reading with, look directly at the script. So I'm looking at the script and I'm reading the lines directly off the script, but it looks like I'm talking to someone. But don't talk to someone and then look to the line. Talk to someone and then look to the line. Okay? You can cheat if you have to cheat. Tie the script up somewhere where it looks like it's the eye line of the person you're talking to and read directly off the script. Or memorize it. And when people say to me, I didn't have time to memorize it, it was 3 pages. What if you book the job and it films the next day? Are you going to turn down the job because you couldn't memorize it? Of course not. Of course not. Next, don't speak in profile. I've actually seen submissions that are like this. Hey, where have you been? Listen, I got to talk to you. Are you kidding? You can't speak in profile. You're not supposed to speak directly to the camera either. You're supposed to speak directly to the left or right of the camera. So I feel like I already made this video, but I want to really hammer this home because it's important. Next, no useless activities. Back when you're starting out as actors, you'll learn about doing activities. Folding, putting things away, unpacking, to give the actor something to do so they're not boring. And I've always come from the frame of mind that if an actor has a lot going on in here and in here, you're not going to be boring. Trust me. However, actors love doing activities. So I recently saw a self-tape where a mother had to be very kind of disheveled and heartbroken talking to her son. And one actress, well-trained, excellent resume, decided to do the whole thing while folding clothes. And all her focus was on the folding, the folding, the folding, the folding. No focus on the pain. No focus on her son, who was sitting there sad. All her focus was on the activity. Don't do it. Not for a self-tape. Unless it's specifically required. Unless it says in the audition, the woman is folding clothes. The woman is focused on her folding. Then it's fine. But not just to give it an activity. It's distracting. It takes you away from the core of what you want. You want to be doing something? Do something emotionally. Do something internally. Number 8, don't add lines. Just because you feel, I think the character would say this, or it would be cool if I said that. Writers get offended. And once you've offended the writer, your odds of getting that role are much smaller. Don't add lines. And if you say, I'd never say that, good, then don't play yourself in that movie or TV show or play. Play the character, because the character says what's written. Okay? Number 9, don't submit late. If it's a deadline Friday at noon, you've got to submit it on Thursday or Wednesday. You don't want to rush and do it wrong, but you do not want to submit late or at the deadline. People were submitting for something I was casting recently, and as they were submitting, I'd already cast it. And let me explain to you why. You see the same scene 100, 200 times. I saw one scene over 300 times. You are sick of that scene. So when someone starts it, even if they're good, you've seen it 100 times, you know who you like already, you don't even care. And unless they're extraordinary, you're tuned out. This is with all casting. They get tuned out after watching the same scene over and over and over and over and over again. So you could come in and be really good, and they've seen it already too many times. Don't submit late. Also, don't email and say, can I have an extension? Why? You had a week? You have 4 days? You have 2 days? You don't ask for an extension. You don't ask for an extension because unless you're on set filming a major TV show or film, find the time to do it. Find the time to do it. This business runs on deadlines. Do not ask for an extension. Get it done or don't submit. And with that, read instructions. If it says must be able to self-report, which means you got to get there on your own, don't submit for it. Audition, they like you, and then say, oh, yeah, I can't get there. I don't have a car. Well, it said that. If it says non-union and you're union, don't submit. If you're non-union, you can submit for union projects. That's fine. That's legal. But it's very frustrating to a production when they like you, they want to cast you, and they're like, oh, wait, I'm SAG. Can you get a waiver? It says non-union in the breakdown. Read the breakdown. Read the requirements listed in the breakdown. Okay? Oh, and number 10, don't suck. That sounds stupid and ridiculous, but it's not. Don't suck. In other words, don't force it, don't overplay it, don't underplay it. Understand what the character's feeling and bring it to life. Nobody wants to see an actor reading lines. I want to see the character. Everyone wants to see the character that they created. And when they're holding auditions and you have 300 people reading the lines, you have to be the one who comes in and doesn't read the lines. You have to be the one that comes in and shows them the character brought to life. Those are the 10 rules of what not to do for a self-tape.